Welcome to the Authentic Leaders Rising podcast, where high-achieving entrepreneurs and leaders come to receive deep, insightful conversations and practical guidance to move from hustle to flow without sacrificing their authentic self and the results. I am your host and Chief Energy Officer, Tammy Cho, a former patient care leader turned international best-selling author, speaker, and face and body analysis expert. Get ready to lead your authenticity, lead your energy, and lead your impact. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show today. I am, as usual, very appreciative of you taking the time here and listening in on my podcast. And today I want to start the episode off with this quote I came across by Carl Jung. When people ask you who you are and you don't know, they will tell you. I'm just going to say that one more time. When people ask you who you are and you don't know, they will tell you. And this quote speaks a lot to what I'm experiencing lately within myself. If you've been following my podcast a few episodes back, I had this awakening within myself, right? Why I started into this business. I wanted to help people learn how to feel again and to really fall back in love with themselves, to really help someone raise their level of worthiness. And I believe we're all on this wave where you're feeling something is shifting in the air. And if you tune into episode number 5, I talk about human design for leaders and how the new energetic era is coming. And so you want to find out more about that, how as a whole in our human evolution, the energetics is that we're shifting more into self-intimacy, into emotions and spirituality, all these pieces. And with my human design being in the right angle cross of the sleeping phoenix speaks exactly with the shift that's happening. And I hope that me sharing about my journey on this podcast will support you if you're feeling like you're going through some sort of plateau, a slowing down, things don't feel like they're working, you're confused, like a part of you wants to do this, part of you feels like you want to do this, and it feels like results are maybe not landing. Or the other spectrum where you seem like you got it all put together on your profit and loss statement when you have the success to show, the accolades and everything on the outside, yet you're still hitting what feels like a disconnection, an emptiness, an unfulfillment inside. Keep on listening, because this is a part within ourselves that is really, it's calling us home back to ourselves. It's calling us to really know ourselves. And so coming back to this quote I just spoke of, if you don't know who you are, people are going to tell you who you are. People are going to project onto you who you are. And if you don't know who you are, you will unconsciously give your power away, and you will unconsciously follow what other experts, coaches and mentors and leaders say outside of you. And of course, we choose the best thing for ourselves in the moment, right? The only challenge with this piece is that because of the business of society with needing to achieve and get things done, and we all have a list so long that if we're living from this place and a lot of our mindset is, I really got to get this done and be my best and be productive and be efficient on all these things, we're often falling back into living out of our bodies and in our head. And one of the symptoms of living outside of our body is overthinking. It's going around in circles, doubting decisions. It's going into perfectionism and thinking about, how about this? How about that? What that person said is this. And it's not that we don't all experience that, but that cycle you're playing is way more pronounced when you're not connected to your body. And if you're not connected to your body, oftentimes you're not very connected to your emotions, because your body holds your emotions, right? In your heart and your body. And this is the power of face analysis and body analysis to really look at what is being held in the body, because We're going on the flow of life. And if we're not slowing down, we're just not necessarily making all these connections about symptoms that are showing up in our bodies, things that are happening maybe to us health wise, the casual colds that we experience or allergy symptoms, sprains in the ankle. We don't really make up anything of that. But when we ignore it over time, it turns into chronic conditions. And that condition in our body often will reflect in subconscious blocks in our results on a physical level, our mindset level, and how we're feeling emotionally. And so it's all interconnected and related. And this is the importance of really coming back to ourselves and knowing ourselves, connecting back into the body so that we can ground into our body and to lead this next wave. If you identify as that change maker, that leader, and you're here for that meaningful impact, it's because your heart is yearning for more that the disconnect is happening. Because if your heart is not really caring to make that deeper impact, you wouldn't feel that disconnect. You would still be in a dormant phase of going through everything, and that could be a happy place or not. But if you're going through a part where your heart is expanding through consciousness, as we all are actually moving towards growth as a whole, you're being called to more. Therefore, the disconnect feels stronger. And we can only hide it so long because things will happen in our body. And this is why I want to bring people back to self, back to the body, to really lead from a place of authentic, energetic alignment, embodied in knowing who we are, leading, aligned to our values, our vision, our purpose. Because you're being called to more because there is more for you. But it doesn't actually come through what we do. It comes through how connected we are to our emotions. Because you know what? That's something bigger. That universe, that God, whatever you identify, it speaks to us through our heart. Our body is the expression of our soul. And it comes back to worthiness. Because if we don't know who we are, how do we love ourselves? How do you love someone you don't know? And when I dive deep into some of the high achievers I work with and into the emotional space, and they get really real with themselves, it's like they realize they don't know who they are. They realize there's parts of themselves that are super confident out there and getting things done. And there's emotional part that is needing more attention. There's a struggle with if you don't know who you are emotionally and you're not connecting to yourself regularly in this way, this is where you'll feel those emotional blocks that affect your worthiness. And if you listen to the last episode about worthiness and confidence, it's a really important distinction between confidence, building a skill outside of you and feeling good about that, versus a sense of worthiness, a deep worthiness where you're good enough no matter what. And when we're not tuned into these emotional places within ourselves, it's really difficult to be in touch and develop intimacy with ourselves. And truly, it's not about just healing, right? Sometimes people think, I've already worked on this trauma, I've already done that work. And yes, I'm sure. And when you're not going about it, actually wanting to know yourself through it and deepen your intimacy about what that child actually wants, and you're not connected to her regularly, very much like our results, it will go up and down and it will feel like you don't have all the energy flowing through you because you're not honoring your own needs. And it's emotional needs, right? It's not that you're not feeding yourself, maybe taking care of your health and things like this, right? It's not like you're not giving yourself the needs that you know. But I could tell you that many high achievers I work with, it's something that is a bit elusive. It's just about bringing consciousness to it. And I want to introduce you to myself and how this could show up, how this showed up for me when I was going through a tough time in my life where I wasn't in my body at all. I used to be a nurse for 20 years and I worked at the bedside. I worked in an educator role. I also worked in ICU, critical care, and I also oversaw the hospital to support moving patients out of emergency in that leadership position. And I was essentially climbing the ladder as a nurse. It got to a point where I just felt like I didn't belong there. I felt my heart was opening for this next thing. I didn't know what it meant. I just knew that there was a lot building up in my body. I felt like pain and tightness in my body. I had headaches. I had TMJ. I was experiencing digestive issues and all these things due to the stress, all the emotions I was holding in. And this picture here is like the top picture was when I was in that space. I was very confused, trying to figure out what is it that I want. I know it's not here anymore, but what is it? And it was very much this place of I didn't know who I was. And guess what? People were telling me who I was there. People were telling me what to do, and people were telling me what they expected from me, what numbers they wanted, and things like this. I was like obviously taking care of the patients and just taking care of everything but myself. And you can see the middle picture that said original picture at the top middle. That was my picture that I took face on. And the two left sides was essentially my two left sides of my face side by side together. And this was my private world. I was really reserved. I was doing all the things, but I was like really reserved in my mindset. I wasn't really seeing big picture. I was being withheld with how the narrowing affecting how I saw life. I couldn't see past the lens I had to look through at that time. And even if you look on the right side of my face at the top right picture, you can really see how even with the hair back, you can see that my forehead, this is our mental space, our connection with the higher God, universe, things like that, our intuition. And I was really restricted in how I was thinking and seeing things at that time in the outer world. I was hiding it on the inner world and it was restricted. And so that it was really difficult. It kept me in my head. It kept me in a spiral. Oh, I know that already. A lot of that energy was playing out. At that time, you can see that the left side of my photo was quite darkened in my face. You can see that the left side of my face is more darker on the top left versus on the top right. But it was like I was like hiding myself and I didn't really connect that. I didn't know I was doing that. And you could see that through doing the work that I was doing in the sense of connecting and getting to know myself, these pieces of myself. And of course, going through this work of seeing myself in this way, it really helps me come face to face with myself to see how I was actually relating to myself and how I honestly didn't think I was worthy of love. I struggled to see my value. Like you can see that my eyes were quite a bit smaller in the top photo, how I was really super sensitive actually. And it's like your eyes will close down if you don't feel safe. You feel a need to protect yourself and your sensitivity. And I was someone that like I had a lot of softness in my face. I'm not sure on here if you can see a pointer, but essentially my cheeks at the top left corner picture is quite poofy. And in general, my upper photo, I had all that emotional sensitivity on the cheeks on the two left side of the face, like the top left photo, and then the two right side of the face photo as well, right? My cheeks it's got a good amount of flesh. And so this tells me I'm a very emotional person. And so guess what was happening? I was like building fleshiness all over my body. I was gaining weight because I felt a need to protect myself. I could see that on my face, right? When I was going through that, like my bone structure was actually really high. My cheekbones were pretty on the high side. So I had these leadership qualities, but I couldn't see myself. I didn't know who I was. I didn't see myself as a leader. Yes, I was doing the leadership things, but I couldn't receive that gift at that time of what I was actually doing and how I was actually leading and how I was leading highly effectively. And you can see, right, the shift in the skin color alone, because we're told to take these photos in bright light. And you can see how from the top photo to the lower photo, you can see my eyes have opened up. The eyes are much bigger. I was allowing myself to be seen. I was seeing myself. Now, I was at this time on my journey, you can see the bottom right side, the eyes were bigger, comparable to the left side. Like I was opening up to others and letting others in, but I wasn't letting myself in as much. You can see the eyes on my lower left photo. My eyes were still smaller relatively. And you can see that in the middle photo with the left side, the eye was actually smaller. And so these are parts within ourselves that were holding ourselves back. There's a tendency, I was like playing small. And when I shifted from being a nurse to being an entrepreneur, I shifted and got to know myself. And I fell off the journey of actually taking care of myself. Oh, I've done that and I've taken care of myself. I've done all this healing work. And it's not until I realized that I had to come back to actually know myself and give myself space, because you could also see the shift from the space between my eyebrow to my eyes. You can see how that section actually got larger. So I started giving myself more time to actually process and to be with myself. And as I went on my journey longer, right, and looking at my human design and seeing that I'm a 2-4, this shows me that I'm someone that actually needs a lot of time by myself. And I'm seeing that again and again in my business. The more time and space I give to myself, the better my business becomes. And so, this is the importance of knowing ourselves to really give ourselves what we need. And when we learn how to be in the energy of actually receiving for what we want, our own needs, emotional needs, because that's what's reflected in the body, right? Because for this picture, my lips got bigger because I learned how to express and speak of my needs and things like that, right? And I do have opportunity in the show notes to find out what your face says about your leadership. So if you're wanting to tap into this and to start that journey of knowing yourself in this way, you're welcome to tap into that in the show notes, because our face is a direct representation of what's happening underneath, and your body doesn't lie. So what better way to use your own body to find out the truth of you and how you're relating to yourself? Because it's not about what you know about yourself, as it's about how you are allowing yourself to feel about yourself, and if you feel embodied in giving yourself what you need. All right. And if you're wanting to, yeah, tap into doing something like a combo with face analysis and human design, definitely send me a message, reach out to me on any of my social media channels, and of course on my pathtotheheart.com. There's a way to contact me on there. So please go ahead and do that if you're in the space that you're ready to dive deeper in yourself. And very much, if you're someone that has already dived into yourself, if and know that if you haven't really attacked emotional healing, connecting, self intimacy, self rediscovering in this way, where you're actually going in with the intention of knowing yourself, that's different. That's very different from just thinking it's another healing experience. Yes, healing is important, but not leaving out the connection to deepening your self intimacy, learning how to receive, and connecting with spirit, God, whatever that is to you. And so I just want to speak to that because it's so important that people don't realize there's a difference with healing yourself versus really knowing yourself and deepening your love and understanding yourself at a deep level, because this determines how you show up in the world in your business. This determines the quality of the results you receive. Worthiness isn't on your profit and loss statement, but it absolutely influences your profit, your results, the quality of your impact. And so I wanted to really highlight this piece because you can see also in my face analysis, right? Notice like how the distance across my face and going up and down has expanded. The face shape has changed. So I actually increased my capacity in my mental zone, my connection to spirit, as well as in the emotional zone. So way more level going downwards, and also down in the physical zone on my face. Everything has elongated because I was actually stepping into more of my leadership and my tendency to care about humanity, creating a bigger impact. And so these are some of the pieces that really highlight the evolution that our journey, like if you've done all this personal development, it really highlights what journey we've been on. And there's a difference between knowing it versus being able to connect to it and to see it in this way, to be held and witness of it. Because I have a lot of clients that say they've done all this work, but it's so different to actually develop the intimacy in a way where we could allow ourselves to actually be witnessed in our vulnerability, because that's the shortest path to our power. Our vulnerability is the shortest path to our power. And so I really invite you on this journey to really get to know yourself very deeply. Because as we evolve as human beings into the next era, where this is where everyone's going. If you are an entrepreneurship, you have something that you want to make the world a better place. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in entrepreneurship. You wouldn't be impact driven, purpose driven, and wanting to make a difference in this way, right? You are actually here to be a leader, to express your uniqueness. And I haven't found anything more powerful than using your face and body as that blueprint, as that map for you, as well as linking in the power of human design. Because guess what? When I landed on seeing what my conscious sun is, which is where I spend over 70% of my energy, my gift set is to help someone deepen their intimacy, their connection with themselves. And what's interesting is that when I look at my human design and look at what I'm here to do, it's actually literally caring. And I'm a role model. I'm a role model for caring for others and modeling this and having this infused in all my work. And if I know this, and it just opens up another layer in my being to be in that, because and then I know who I am. I'm letting that in. And I'll tell you one thing is that when I first got my face and body read, I was like entirely disconnected. I couldn't let it in. And so it's not just about one aspect or another. It's actually linking in what your body is saying, but also having someone like me or another coach to really bring you into the body to teach you how to create safety in your own body. Because when we allow ourselves and learn the skill of holding safety for all these pieces, all the pain that shows up in your body from all the stress, body symptoms, and whatever you're going through, headaches, or it's just that you can feel that you're holding yourself back. That everyone's on a different journey, how strongly these emotions play out and how connected you are to feeling them. All those things, like when we're able to hold ourselves on that, to really feel the safety in that and know the truth of who we are, knowing that we're part of God, knowing that God is speaking through us, knowing that abundance is all around us, knowing that we're innately joy, like all these pieces, knowing the truth of who we are, filtered through your specific energetic blueprint and human design to show up in this way. I recently, literally in a few different groups, I essentially allowed myself to just be in my emotions and just share exactly authentically what I'm going through. And it was just so amazing how it just had so many messages after around how powerful that was for them to see someone show up like that. I allowed myself to get angry and I allowed myself to be in my emotions, but not in a weak way. I just held myself like, this really sucks. And I didn't feel any shame because I was being me. I was being human. I was caring for myself. I was getting angry for myself out of love for myself. And I had so many messages. I had people come on my email lists, and I had ex clients contact me or wanting to work with me. In this week, it happened 3 times when I allow myself to step in my energy essence and be who I am unapologetically, right? This happens so many times where it just flows. And so it truly is coming back, the truth of who we are and taking action, allowing ourselves fully to be ourselves. And sometimes it's the lack of action that is actually most powerful. And I just wanted to show you the power of what your face and body communicates to you, the power of knowing yourself, and to know who you are so you don't allow others to tell you who you are, and so that you're not conforming. The whole thing about being that authentic leader in your life for you is allowing yourself to be who you are and to be unique, different from what everyone else is doing. That's what we're meant to do. We're meant to be ourselves. And that starts with knowing yourself. And if this episode really resonates with you, please reach out. I'm happy to hold you in the space to support you with wherever you're at. And so we can move you past the plateau you're feeling in a conscious way, to move past the plateau to the new, the more authentic, the more powerful you, where you just get to be yourself. And you'd be surprised how much energy will flow in your life. Because if you're holding yourself down, the real part of you down, you're holding back a lot of potential energy to express out as well. Just look at these pictures where the 2 left sides is the inner world and the 2 right sides are the outer world, right? How much expansion can be possible for you? And so I do invite you again to, go to the show notes and look at the lead with authenticity, what your face shape says about your self leadership, because that will highlight a lot of pieces for you. And please, if you have any questions after doing that, I'm here to support you, to really taking care of some of those pieces that are in your way. And let's explore if we're meant to work together. Because who is suffering because you're not in your uniqueness? And you don't have to do it giving yourself away, because you get to come back to who you are. And that's the beauty of falling back in love with yourself, with your inner leader, so you can rise above the plateau and really unlock your true potential, your next level success and happiness. Lots of love to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'd love to hear what you think of the episode. I am grateful for you. Thank you for being here and listening to the end. Much love. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Authentic Leaders Rising podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode, and leave us a review so others can find the life-changing content that we're sharing here. We are starting our movement on our way to number 1, and we need your help to get there. If you'd like to connect with other high-achieving entrepreneurs and leaders who are also on their authentic, energetic leadership journey, join our free Facebook community, Energetically Aligned Leaders. Go to pathtotheheart.com/links to join the Facebook group, book your personalized face analysis experience, or to access our resources.